Good morning, afternoon, or evening, wherever you're at, ladies and gents. I am Kura Isagami, your resident tinkerer and Medarotter, and this is the Medarot News Network, bringing you all the latest developments and happenings with our favorite pet-fighting robot series. Well, today's news is coming actually a day early compared to when I and the official channel actually normally post our stuff, and that is for a very important reason. That reason being that today marks the 3rd anniversary of which Medarot S has launched on mobile platforms for iOS and Google Play. So naturally, there is a lot of stuff to celebrate. Honestly, 3 years for a mobile game is still a fantastic track record, even if the game has had a couple bumps and scrapes here and there. And honestly, what's to say no game has a squeaky clean slate? But I'd say for a 3-year run thus far, I'd say Medarot's doing pretty good. All the friends it's made across its 3 years, all the new bots that were introduced, and everything between there and here, fantastic all the same, and I'm honestly proud and happy to be a Medarotter and celebrate in the festivities. That being said, we do have a lot of stuff to look forward to right out of the gate as we wrap up with the EVA Collab at the end of this month, starting with the final week of January to celebrate the 3rd year anniversary. Now naturally those banners will still stick up and stay around for one more week until 131, but this week in particular we see an upgrade to a previously well-known KBT, as we're getting an upgrade to her and very likely her sister in the coming week. That being said, let's go ahead and jump right into this week's reveal of what's upcoming for the 3rd anniversary. Starting of which are the gacha banners, and highlighting the direct upgrade and new bot to the KBT family, KBT-15 Anzudo, with a kit of Rebirth, Double Inferno, Biped Legs, and the leg ability of Bloodstain. Now, compared to Anzudo Beetle, who is the direct predecessor of this model and its original source material, it looks like Anzudo in this case is going to be for sure trading in versatility for all-round nuking power, as Inferno was reported to have basically the mechanics and properties of Microwave and all the damage nuking properties that it entails, but also provide the properties of Blowaway, according to reports from this morning's stream. So assuming that the first blast doesn't kill him, the Blowaway will certainly keep them out of your hair and maintain good crowd control. In addition to this, highlighting a lot of Navi related bots this week in particular with the gacha banners, we're going to be seeing a rerun of the Navi starters, KBT-08 Grand Beetle, with a kit of Power Rifle, Gatling, Biped Legs, and the Explorer leg ability, who can also meta change into a wheel-based form and change his kit out for Hyper Missile, Crossfire Set and Release, and the leg ability of Aim. And alongside him, we do also see KWG-08 Sonic Stag with a kit of Stealth, Sword, Hammer, Biped Legs, and the leg ability of Mirage. Now, much like Grand Beetle, Sonic Stag is also capable of meta change, exchanging his kit out for Sword, Anti-Air, Anti-Sea, Light Legs, and the leg ability of Straight. Now, for most folks that have Sonic Stag may know, he is honestly fantastic for crowd control, especially when it comes to becoming a terror of the skies or of the sea in any kind of EX trial that requires pure sets. Anyone that has Dorcas, also the same case, but this week is going to be a very good week for those that are in need of a lot of well-versatile and varied kits while still maintaining pure sets. With the Fierce Battles this week, it's going to be a little bit lower key essentially, but not quite Navi-centric. Highlighting and starting the line, we have MDZ-0 Medusard with a kit of Freeze, Sword, Counter Guard, Multi-Legs, and the P-Loader leg ability, which buffs success relative to Metaforce Charge. Behind her, we have SGT-0 Sagittarius, who is Navi-centered, with a kit of Suction, Defense Seal, Evade Seal, Light Legs, and the Hidden leg ability, which is essentially one extra head use for every unfilled heavy slot. And last but not least, TND-0 Tank Dunk, the heavy artillery tank type, with the kit of Napalm, Missile, Gatling, Tank Legs, and the leg ability of Bullet Rain. Now, even though these 3 models may not be as heavily Navi-centric, of course with the exception of Sagittarius, these 3 models still offer a lot of very nice skills that can be used not just for for high-end nuking, but also just for your relative versatility as well across the board. So with whether you go for one model or all three, it never hurts to collect the parts just for the sake of having them, because they do offer some very good skills, whether it be ailments or even conventional shooting or melee skills. You really can't go wrong with being able to use anywhere, no matter where you use them. That being said, if I did have to give an MVP of the week to somebody, I would honestly have to give it to Medusard. Even though Sagittarius can make itself a relative nuisance and nightmare with defense and evade seal, Medusard honestly has more of the balance covered in terms of how useful one can be. As even if the shield arm and the legs aren't super handy based on how you use them, the conventional right arm of sword and the freeze on the head are generally skills you can never ever go wrong with using. Now, this one's more of a recap and a re-highlight as what was announced last week, but we are also seeing a banner pop up for the super rare Medarots, in particular for Arase and Hisaki, to celebrate the 3rd anniversary of the game. Highlighting their abilities, Arase's ability will reduce incoming damage by 10%, and also buff your heat and cool by 20%. This will last 2 hits or 4 turns, whichever comes first. Hisaki, on the other hand, will reduce incoming charge requirements for any kind of attacks or conditions by 30% once activated, and also buff speed by about 150 points. So both of these Medarots are going to be very good to hold on to or get a hold of, even if you don't decide to use them right away. Medarot skills are definitely becoming something that you want to see more and more in the competitive meta, just to make sure that you can keep that competitive edge and make sure the enemy doesn't turn the tables on you. Now, as one more brief reminder when it comes to banners, the EVA Collab units, units 0 through Mark 6 and 10th Angel, will be sticking around one final week. So that means if you have not had your chance to collect all the units or even pieces that you want from them, this is your last chance to collect them, or at least go for the part that you want. Because once this week ends and the 31st comes around, the banners will close and the EVA Collab will be officially complete. That also applies to any collab Medarots that you are perhaps missing or want to go after. So if you have any extra rubies, this is the week that you want to make sure you use them and ensure that you can snag what you can. Now, in terms of what's going on this week, however, I highly anticipate this is going to be a 2-week celebratory event, and I suppose as to be expected for an anniversary given previous year's patterns. But this week, these events are going to be very, very lucrative, not just to veteran players, but also to new players, and especially to newer players, for a number of reasons. The first of which is the gacha wheel is coming back, similar to previous anniversaries. For those that don't know, gacha wheels essentially, instead of collecting tickets or milestone points for rewards, you simply use the tickets to buy rolls on the gacha wheel. Simply put, you roll the wheel, you get rewards, and you pull the rewards from the pool. Once you pull the big ticket reward from the pool, or until you completely empty it out, you can choose to go to the next box and advance forward to collect more rewards. Finish all the boxes before the event ends, and you unlock the Infinity Box, which basically lets you farm indefinite resources as long as you have tickets. But in terms of what rewards we can get this time around, they're highlighting this time around additional voice lines for Arase, Hisaki, and Hotori, in particular to celebrate the 3rd anniversary of the series, which is completely to be expected. But we are also getting a hold of the Engineer medal, with a hunter nature and a mastery in shoot, healing, and setup, with leg masteries in biped, wield, and flight. And if I can break this for just a minute, I just have to say, if this medal is what I think it is, this medal is honestly tailor-fit to my particular aesthetic and theme. So I'm really interested in getting a hold of that myself, just for the sake of having it collected, and just see what kind of damage it can really do once it is officially in my hands. But in addition to this, the other really, really big ticket event reward this time around, that'll be not just for veterans, but also for new players, especially new players, will be 3 previous event reward Medarots. These include Wyvern, Merry Tree, and Many Milk. So naturally, these 3 will also be able to give bonus tickets when you do collect their parts, but they also are very solid kits to get a hold of and make use of. Wyvern for a free Hyper Crept and Flight legs, Merry Tree for a Canceller also with float legs, and Many Milk also for very solid healing capabilities. Now, as for how this event will play out, they did say this event is ticket-based, very similar to previous Gacha Wheel anniversary events. So naturally, with that being said, you definitely want to make sure that you spread load the parts of particular sets across the team if you want to make the most of your benefits. That means, for instance, if you do manage to snag Anzudo as an example at a +4 ticket bonus per part, you'd want to make sure that you spread those parts across all three of your across all three bots of the team. That includes, say, an arm per model, and then the head to one, and the legs to a third, or however you decide to split it up. Anzudo Beetle, Grand Beetle, and Sonic Stag will of course be highlighting the next best bonus at a +2 each, and the Fierce Battles and event rewards for this week highlighting a +1. Medarots, same case. 3rd Anniversary Odyssey is highlighting a +3 bonus, while super rare versions of Odyssey, Shiden, and Ibuki and Nozomi will be celebrating a +1 bonus along with the rare versions of those same Medarots. So again, Medarots don't really matter as long as you can capitalize at least one each, but with parts, you definitely want to make sure you spread them out to maximize your bonuses. On the topic of Anzudo Beetle, as you did kind of see her out in the middle of nowhere there, the reason why she's getting some particular attention is not just for the fact that she's getting a direct upgrade with Anzudo, but also because the original model herself is getting the tune-up treatment. Some particular notable upgrades include boost to her armor, which as a sacrifice nuker is a very, very good card to have in her deck. So naturally, she will also be getting a rerun banner through this week as well, with a kit of shoot boost, double sacrifice, and biped legs with the shape memory leg ability. So if you guys already have Anzudo Beetle or have not had the chance, she is honestly a very interesting sacrifice fighter and one that actually makes the kit relatively feasible to use depending on how you decide to build her or use her. Now on the community front, we are still continually looking for translators to assist with our translation projects. Medarot 3 and the Reloaded translation projects are definitely picking up just a little bit of steam, but we still are in need of manpower. There's a lot of text that needs translated, whether that be for code or for that be for manga pages. So we would love to have some assistance with that so we can work on other projects such as Medarots 4 and 5 and Navi, which are very highly and popular and requested by popular demand. So if you do have any knowledge or know someone that is with some time on their hands, we would love to have you guys. Feel free to reach out to me or join us in our Discord in the link provided in the comments below. Ask around and we're more than happy to get you in touch with the right people that can fill you in on what has been done and everything that still needs done up to this point. Now, the weekly art highlights here on the MNN, I found this piece just yesterday, actually, by Twitter user Arbo and a good buddy of mine as well, highlighting a paper craft by Paper Radicon, also on Twitter, showcasing a paper craft of a relatively niche and obscure bot from the days of Medarot R, and it is the Red Tin Robot type GPT-0 Mokusei Dio. So very interesting to see that one of those put together. It looks really, really nice, and honestly serves as a reminder I probably should get on the ball and print some of those myself to work on. And then also here, this Twitter user at Miroku-T5000, who does a lot of 90s aesthetic style anime art, this week highlighting a piece of Pure Mermaid, or Oceana, as a lot of EN fans will know her, as to celebrate her debut and introduction in the anime, given that the episode that she appeared in is officially airing on the YouTube channel this week, as about several hours this morning it officially went live. So if you'd like to see more art, definitely give both these guys a follow, and you definitely will not be sorry to see more Medarot in your feed. And before I do wrap up, I do actually have one more piece of news for you guys. And those that are in our Discord already know about this piece of news, but for those that aren't or may not quite be members, the Project Rising Beetle server is officially holding its own Ori Meta contest for 2023. For those that do not know what this is, Ori Meta, or simply as a contraction for Original Medarot, we are having a custom bot designing contest. The rules are simple. Contests will run from February 1st to March 1st, so through the entirety of this next month, the contest will be open to entries. Judges may also participate if they so desire, but don't you worry, because even if I myself will be a judge, my entries will not be qualified or considered for finalists. That's just so I can have some fun with you guys. In previous events that we've held, that the server has held for these contests, there used to be a motif prompt. This time around, there is none, so go ham on the design, go ham on the motif, just as long as it's, safe, content safe, family safe. Keep it family friendly, essentially. Be clean with it. You are also allowed up to 3 submissions through the course of the month. Now, if you perhaps have an entry that is a finalist, that does mean you can't be a finalist and a winner, but that still does boost your chances of being picked the more entries you have. In addition to this, an encouragement, because this has been a note that was mentioned to me a lot with these contests, a lot of people saying, maybe I don't have the art abilities, or I have an idea but I can't draw it. Don't worry about it. Don't sweat it, don't bother with it, okay? We're not looking for art. Art is only a portion of the design. We're also looking for someone who can think out a concept and at least plan it out. And even if your sucky art, quote unquote, may not look super great to you, you never know. It might actually be a finalist or an honorable mention. On the topic of honorable mentions, we will be selecting 3 winners and 2 honorable mentions at the end of the contest. Granted, if we have plenty of entries, if we don't have as many, that may be cut down just a little bit, but we'll have to see. Now, one other thing to note, as this was another mention that from previous contests, entries must be drawn by the participant. You cannot commission someone else to draw your bot for you. So as much as you'd like to see pretty art of your original design, you can do it, don't get me wrong, and I'm not going to stop you, but just don't submit that for the contest, because we will find out, and that actually will kind of give a higher likelihood of disqualifying you, because we're looking for your art and concept, not someone else's. What must these entries contain to be participating? Very simple, very easy. You have to include a model ID and a name of the bot, the part names and skills of what they can do. I mean, we have to know what they can do in battle once they're on the field. Art of at least one angle. This can be a front shot, a front angle shot, however you decide to put it, just something that gives us the idea of what your bot looks like. And last but not least, your signature. This also is to help guarantee that any art that's submitted will be yours and yours alone when the judges and I consider entries at the end of the month and the closing of the contest. Optional things. Nice to have, but not required. You can add additional art. Again, if you do a front concept, you can do a back and a side. However you decide to do it, it's up to you. Or even include a little blurb, a little informational blurb explaining what your model is or how you came to it. Not needed, like I said, but nice to have, just to kind of give a little flavor text to what kind of bot design that you came up with. So again, this contest will run between February 1st and March 1st. So just give you guys a little bit of a heads up now that this is incoming, and I'm looking forward to seeing lots and lots of entries to celebrate not just the 3rd anniversary of the game and the 25th anniversary of Medarot, but also would like to bring the community closer together on this, as we are also giving out cash prizes for the top places if the idea of fun art wasn't enough to entice you to join. But with all that being said, I do believe that indeed covers everything for this week's episode, so I do appreciate you all for stopping by, just as you always do. If you'd like to know more, you can follow us below on Facebook at the Medarot News Network page or the Metabots Forever communities on there. You can also join us on Discord in the link provided and in the comments below. This is the easiest way to get the closest ear to the ground on the action. This includes any new merchandise, new games, game updates, translations, manga, fan art, you name it. That's the first place you'll hear it before it goes anywhere else. You can also reach out to me personally on Twitter at IsagamiKura, so if you have any questions or feedback or comments or even suggestions for things I could cover in future videos, or if you are a streamer or VTuber and would love to collab with me on something or even guest host with me here on the MNN, I would love to have you. Feel free to reach out, drop a DM and say hello. My DMs are always open for that very, very reason, and I don't really intend to close them anytime soon. Do also give these pages a follow as well. These are the official Medarot and Medarot S pages on Twitter. So if you want to get the closest ear to the ground on the action on Twitter when it comes to Medarot news, that includes anime episodes going live, game updates, showcases, fan art. That's the first place you'll see it on Twitter before it goes anywhere else. And this also, by following them, will also help show them by demographic just where in the world all of us are to help celebrate the series and support it. So perhaps, I don't know, the more Western people that they see joining and following their pages, maybe it might show them that we still are here and still love and support them. Who knows? Can only assume the best. But that being said, I do believe that covers everything just like I said. So, again, I thank you all for stopping by, and until next time, this is your host, Kura Isagami of the Medarot News Network, signing out.